Hey guys, welcome back to our channel,
Plots with a Twist,
where we discuss books,
amongst other things.
and yes, okay, so we still wait on our wrap up. We got it.
We're coming.
We got it.
Y'all know we coming. Like y'all know.
But
At this point,
we thought we do books that like we've been talking about to our friends, talking about to our peers, talking about to anyone. These are 10 out of 10 would recommend. That's what we want to chat about today. Books we can't stop recommending. So let's get into it. Okay. So you feel like you got books that you
I've
keep talking
talked about before because I can't stop recommending them. So I'm gonna keep recommending them. Okay. So first book I want to talk about is Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. So y'all probably I haven't mentioned it here probably in a while.
Girl, you mentioned that like
no, but not in a long time ago. Because honestly I haven't read any nonfiction in a while. Like this is crazy. I love a good nonfiction like self-help development book. So, but that book is specific. When somebody asks me like for something like a nonfiction book and they're looking to like better their lives, whatever, I always recommend this book because I just feel like it's one of those books. It's so like. It's one of those books that just reminds you of things that you already know. Like, you know, all we have is now. You worried about the past, you worried about the future, but all that doesn't matter because you're not there. Like, all we have is right now. So it kind of just brings you back to that mindset and reminds you that, you know, it's important to live in the present and be intentional in everything that you're doing. And with that comes like, you know, you plan for the future, yes, but you, in being intentional and just really focusing on what you have in front of you in the moment, like you are, that is planning for your future, that is preparing you for your next moments. And of course living in the past does nothing for anybody. So yeah, that's one of those books that I just like always like tell people to read when they feel like just like I don't know, like just down or just whatever. Like it just really gets you like, it's a really like motivational book without it being like too like preachy or I don't know, like just being too like self-helpy or whatever, what have you. So yeah, that's a book that I love. I'm always gonna read it. It's a book that I also like can read more than once, and I don't read books more than once. That's just the thing. I don't like. I can't. Can you
I don't either. I'm saying
like
the fact that you will read that more than once.
Yeah, because it just reminds you. Like,
yeah,
you know. So yeah,
live in the now. And excuse that noise. That's Charlie.
He's playing with his toys. Yeah.
Oh, he would stop it as soon as I say something. All right. So, okay, for me, guess what? I'm not going to say A Man Called Uwe, even though that is
I wanted to put that on my list so bad. I said, you know what? No.
That is one I always,
it stops here.
I always will never stop recommending that. But, okay, so initially I put just any Frederick Backman book. Read them. They're good. But specifically, moving from A Man Called Uwe, I will say Beartown. Beartown, is that on your list?
No, it's not.
Okay,
good. But I like that. I enjoyed that book.
Beartown is a book that I think everyone should read. It gives a great, compelling story of, you know, victory with drama and scandal and things like that. And ultimately, he does a great job of writing from a female's perspective. Female goes through a kind of traumatic experience. So it's really a good, hearty book. And it's still like, it gives you everything you need. He always gives you everything you need. So that's one I continue to recommend to anybody who's like, what's a good book I could read? I'm like, Beartown. Try Beartown.
Okay.
Well, first I'll say A Man Called Uwe. But then they be like, and I'll be like, okay, try Beartown. So that's the other one I 10 out of 10 would recommend, Beartown. If you have not read it, read it. Beartown. Okay.
So next on my list is a book, again, that I mentioned here millions of times. And if you're in the BookTube community, you've heard of it already. And that's Dark Matter by Blake Crouch.
I had that on my list for a second.
I love that book. And that's a book that I recommend to kind of like a specific set of people. I think people that are into like science, people that are into like just like thinking outside the box and stuff, when they ask me for book recommendations, I recommend that book because I like to say I don't really like science fiction or stuff like that, but I do be reading a little. I dabble here and there. So but that's one of those books that I just feel like it has a good balance of science fiction with also like humanizing like elements, like where it's just not like a bunch of jargon or just like science and parallel universes and all that stuff, it still like has that element of emotion and just like, you know, you kind of get invested in the characters as well, not only the subject matter. So yeah, really love that book. Y'all know I love that book. Blake Crouch, he's due for another book.
I think he has. I feel like he either had one that came out,
I have to look that up,
but it wasn't. I want to say it was a short story.
Oh, okay.
I think I saw his name recently surrounding something.
Okay, so yeah, I both books I read Recursion and I read Dark Matter and love both of them, but Dark Matter, I think I like that one a little bit better.
Right.
So yeah, that's a book that I always recommend to people. I have recommended to people a bunch of times, and I just love it. Read it if you haven't.
Okay, so the next book I'll mention, I recommend this to a lot of people as well because I think it does tell a good story. I like Greek mythology, so it's like it gives you it helps you understand a little bit better about what you think I'm about to say. She don't know. That book is The Song of Achilles.
I knew exactly
by Madeline Miller. I love that book. I love both. I read Circe and she has a third book that I need to check out. It came out before those two. I think. Somewhere. But anyway, Songs of Achilles, I just love it because I think Achilles is a character that most people are familiar with when it comes to Greek mythology. Yeah. So it makes it easy to recommend because most people are aware of him. And I just thought the book was just very compelling. It told a different perspective. It gave you a different understanding of who he was because it wasn't told directly from him. It was told from his lover, Patroclus. So I just really love that book, and I think it's one that anybody could enjoy. So I just find myself recommending it all the time because it's like, again, it gives you the feels. What is good? So yeah, that's Song of Achilles.
Okay, so next book that I love to recommend to people is More Than Enough by
sure do.
by what's this girl?
Eleanor Welteroth.
Elaine Welteroth.
I said
almost there, but yeah, More Than Enough by Elaine Welteroth. And y'all know I love that book. It's basically a book about. It's basically like a memoir of her life and how she just. The things she went through being a biracial but identifying as Black woman and becoming the first Black teen Vogue editor, and just like all her trials and tribulations, and just basically like a book telling you that you are more than enough. Like when you have those moments when you feel like, oh, maybe I can't do this, maybe I can't do that, or I'm not capable, it's like, no, you are enough, you're more than enough. So I just love that book. It's very like a heartfelt, like just feel good, motivational type book, and I recommend it to people like when they ask me for a book recommendation, especially people like, I don't know, I find that I have a lot of friends that don't want to read. They like to read like nonfiction. They say they like to. They don't read nothing, but they say they like to read nonfiction books. And so that's one that I will recommend because I feel like it's an easy read, but it's also informative and motivational, makes you feel good. So yeah, I love that book, and I'm gonna recommend it time and time again. Okay, stop looking at my list.
I can't read your writing anyway. So the next book I would recommend or find myself recommending, I think it's a dumb reach. You know, I don't not to call the book dumb, but when you don't want to think about it, when it's one of those books that just pulls you in immediately, I think this is one that does that, and that's The Husband's Secret by Leanne Moriarty.
Ooh, wow, I wasn't expecting that from you.
What? Yes. So that one is one that I recommend a lot for people who don't really read a lot, because like I said, it's an easy book and it's easy to get pulled into the situation. Leanne Moriarty is one of those guilty pleasure writers. I've said that she presents a lot of, you know, scandal, like a little what's going on here, but it's very like, it can seem very surface, but she gives you a deep, hearty, still backstory, understanding of people. So it's a good, I feel like she's a good, if you're trying to get back into reading or into reading period, I feel like she's one of those authors. And The Husband's Secret, I think it had a lot of elements as to why I would recommend it more so than some of her other books. I think it had a good balance of just that scandal, backstory, you wanting to know what happened, at the same time yeah, it just pushes you to want to read. So I think that's one I definitely try to recommend for that type of person.
Okay.
If you don't read a lot, read it.
Okay, so kind of in that same vein, but yeah. I would recommend 7 Days in June by Tia Williams.
But I'm not doing that.
Because we've talked about it so much here over the last few months or last few videos, and especially a romance novel. And I recommend it because I just feel like it's an easy read. I think that it is like kind of like flows, and it's funny. It has a lot of pop culture references that are of today, and that I feel like a lot of people would relate to. And it's just a good book. I felt like it was a really good storytelling of the characters. And if you like just books about love and romance, and just want to see like people just then it's a great book. And I feel like the people that I have that do ask me that actually read like novels and stuff, I suggest that book to them more recently, because I just feel like it's a good book. And if you don't like that book, like what? Like what's wrong with you? So yeah, that's one that I recommend often nowadays.
Yeah. Okay. That was on my list, and I had some other really recent books on my list, but I kept it to some of my older books. So another one, I talk about how I love suspense. I love thrillers.
Me too.
So I'm gonna just throw this one out there. Tana French, read her. But a book that kind of at the time reinvigorated my reading journey. I think I was in a reading slump at the time, and I even said this to Aisha. I'm like, girl, you need to read this because this did this for me. And I found myself mentioning it to other people. I bet you don't.
The House in Cerulean Sea?
No. So, and that's the one I would recommend, but that's not the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
So it reinvigorated my reading journey. It's one of those where it's not the most complex story. It's not the most plot twisty story. It's just something about it that just really kind of compelled me to really engage with it and ultimately recommend it to other people. And that, you're going to be surprised, is Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris.
I don't know, I read that, but I don't even remember what it was about.
I enjoyed that book. That was about the woman who was in the marriage that's seemingly perfect, but he was holding her hostage.
Oh, I knew
yes.
that. Yeah, that was a good book. That was a good book.
Okay. So, yeah, it just was, I don't know. It was just the way she wrote it that really made the story just really, I don't know. It wasn't anything majorly special about. Maybe it was just her writing. I don't know. But pretty much, I've recommended that a ton of times to various people because I thought it was just one of those that really kind of excited you to read, because it does have that really kind of, I want to know what's going to happen. Oh my God, what is going on type vibe. So that's when I find myself just recommending often. So
That does surprise me.
Okay. I told you mine was surprising.
I know, mine's is very basic, very y'all expect this from me. So last one on my list is a book that I recommend to people who read but haven't read this book and are into good books. That's Where the Crawdads Sings by Julia Owens, because y'all know that was the book. I feel like that's the book that put us on the map a little bit.
Yeah,
YouTube, BookTube. But
we still get comments.
Yeah,
we filmed that 2 years ago.
And they're coming out with a movie. They started shooting the scene. Did you see? I'm gonna send it to you on Instagram.
Who's Kaya or Kate? How you say her
Both
name?
of the actors that I saw that are playing Kaya and her love interest. Yeah. Not the bully, but the nice one.
Is that his name?
I forget.
But
the one that, she actually loved, they were both actors that I know names that I didn't know.
I'm going to look it up because I probably know them because I keep up with that type of stuff.
But anyway, so they're making it into a movie. And that's a book that I just it was just such a good book. Y'all know, if y'all are familiar with our channel, then you know how much we love that book and raved about it, and have our book reviews. So check it out if you haven't. If you're new, go ahead and check out that book review that we did. But it was just like a great book. The writing was great. The storytelling was great. There were some themes in it that we did discuss before that would kind of seem like, I don't want to say problematic, but just like kind of like, wish that wasn't in there. But it was purposeful for the story, I guess. So it didn't bother us that much. But I just thought it was just like a great storytelling, and the way the main character was developed. I just loved how the author did. And I haven't read anything else by her, which is kind of funny. So
right, because
yeah, like we usually check for authors that we enjoy their writing. So that's one that I do recommend to people who like read. Like when they ask me for like, oh, what's a good book that you've read or whatever, I that's one that comes off the top of my head and that I will suggest, because it's just a good book, and I just love the way it ended up. And the writing is great. That's one thing I will say. The writing was really great. The way she told that story was phenomenal. So yeah, that's it for me.
Okay. I feel like I was trying to hit different.
Yeah, that's good though.
So for me, I made like a really long list, but I only mentioned 5 books. So what you gonna pick? Y'all know I would say Harry Potter, but I'm not gonna say Harry Potter. So I decided to do another series that I really enjoyed, even though it was a duology. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. She don't know. And that's Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I absolutely enjoyed that book.
I thought you were going to say How to Wish or something.
Nah. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, if you want to read it, I recommend it to you. But as far as what I have recommended to other people, what I will continue to recommend, I think she did her thing on that book. And that is...
I'm going to read it.
I mentioned that duology several times on the channel since I've read it. And I just think it does the things that you want it to do. Mm-hmm. So you have compelling backstories of characters. You have, ensemble cast. You have, love. You have action. You have all these things that just come together and just make this great story. Most of the people I recommend this to aren't necessarily always into fantasy, but I think this book or the duology together strikes a good balance of still giving you just a straightforward kind of regular, I don't want to say regular, but just a compelling story, but you still have those fantasy elements that make it more interesting and take it to the next level. So I think it is something that I will always recommend. It's just, oh my God, I'm just almost mad at myself that I didn't read it sooner. Like,
I can see that.
Yeah, so read it.
I have Six of Crows, and I need to go ahead and it's on my list. It's been on my list for like a year.
Okay, but yeah. All right, so let us know some books you continue to recommend to other people.
Like, I mean,
like I said,
tell people
I have a ton, and I have a lot more recently. Of course, as I read books, I'm like, girl, let me tell you about this book I'm reading right now. So yes, I have more recent reads, but I want to get back to the ones that I know I've recommended a lot.
Yeah, these are my solid, I know. If you don't like these books, don't talk to me.
Okay. Like this video, subscribe, ring the bell, and we'll be back next time for our wrap up. Bye.
Yes. Bye.